Hi, friends. It's me, Rachel, here alone, ready to answer your questions. If you have any questions, I hope you do, because I have answers. And I really do mean ask me anything. Ask me anything, and I will answer. Can't guarantee it'll be the right answer, but I will answer in some way. I really wanted to live stream because Eric is taking a bath right now, and then he's going to take a nap. And that's not what I'm going to do. So here I am. It's interesting. Like, I actually really have to, reach for things that I want to talk about on my own. Like, I guess that's part of ignoring any, I have to, think about other things that I want to talk about if people don't ask me questions. So one of the things that I want to talk about is the weather in lovely Southern California. So we're supposed to get rain here Wednesday, they're saying, which is nice. It looks like it could rain any moment right now, but I don't believe the clouds are low enough. They just look like gray, puffy clouds. Nothing, not really stormy. They're not low enough, the clouds. But it is a really nice day, I have to say. I could even do card reads too. In the meantime, while people come in to ask some questions. Ugh. Let me tell you, growing out a pixie is difficult. It is so frustrating. Like that mid-length, weirdness. I feel like I have a mullet. Fucking 80s hair. All right. See, I'm playing with Eric's cards right now. Shuffle. Ooh, the Star and the Knight of Swords. I think it's saying to me, stay. I'm the star of this show, and I need to talk. Maybe like a 20-something-year-old. You know, it's interesting. I've been thinking about generations a lot lately for some reason, more than I ever have before. I always knew that my parents were baby boomers. Hi, Winston's mom. I'm so glad that you're here. I guess it does sound wrong. Anything, you guys can ask me whatever you want, and I will answer. Right now, I'm talking about, what was I talking about? Well, my brother just got engaged. That's something to talk about. My brother Anthony, who is 30, just got engaged to his girlfriend Victoria, And they said that they would let us know like information as like it comes in as to when. I'm doing readings to Winston's mom. I'm playing with cards. I pulled the Star and the Knight of Swords for myself, which means that I'm kind of talking like a teen. Like I'm sort of there. Oh. No, this isn't the wedding that I was planning for. The wedding that I was planning for is my cousin Ryan's wedding to his fiancée Kelsey. Apparently, a lot of stuff is up in the air. They don't even have a lot of answers, so it's not just me. I was just being neurotic. But that's because I don't have anything to worry about, really. And really, I wanted to, like, I don't know, I like to dress for the occasion. And I was worried about what kind of wedding dress to wear. Like, I don't even know. Like, I just feel like the wedding industry is going to change so much because of COVID. And I'm trying to predict, like, what kind of changes those are. Oh, yeah, I was talking about generations. So, yeah, growing up, I always knew that my parents were baby boomers. But I didn't start thinking about generations until recently. I'm 1985. I was born 1985. So I am at the beginning-ish, kind of middle, kind of beginning-ish, millennial. Yeah, beginning-ish. And then Gen X, I started learning about maybe in 2015. And now I'm really studying it because I'm studying Gen Z, how different they are from millennials. I like going to weddings. I would drive home after a wedding, considering where the newly married couple's future would lead them, says Winston's mom. I like going to weddings too, of people that I really care about. That's what I've learned. I dated an ESFJ for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. And he was very much about going to social events. And I was dealing with being sober and like I really didn't want to go to a lot of these like weddings that I was being invited to, but they were kind of like stressing me out because I was using up a lot of my FE. You know, it was natural and fine for him to go to these events, and he always wanted me there with him. But in socionics, ESFJ is the supervisee of the supervisor type INFJ. So it was like I tried to teach him that like there are certain social events that I don't have to be at, you know, that I really don't enjoy myself when I go to too many events, social events, because I get run down and then my politeness factor goes down too. So who wants a nasty INFJ at a party? No one. No one wants that. It's not fun. INFJs can be shit at parties if they don't want to be there. So, oh, here comes Peter. I have to feed him. later. When I was the boss's wife, I had to go to events. We had big social events, and I struggled with each more and more as the years went on. I didn't want to do these boring, superficial for me. Yeah, it felt sort of superficial for me too. You know, like I was going to these weddings when I knew the person, like I had been introduced to them, like I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like I was happy to do that. But when I didn't know the people, like it was just like I just couldn't compromise on that. I was struggling as it was. Like I was being tested for marijuana and I wasn't drinking alcohol. So like I was already like really on edge. So who wants that kind of person at a wedding? No one wants that person at a wedding. So, but I did anyway. So, but yeah, I've been thinking a lot about generational stuff, and because I think that Gen Z is very different from millennials. There's a lot. It seems like there's a lot of the harmony seeking, like, and Eric is the only Gen Xer that I really know. I believe my Aunt Leslie and my Uncle Paul are on the cusp of Gen X, but besides that, Eric is the only Gen Xer that I know, and I believe I'm the only millennial that he knows. And millennials are having a lot of babies. It's pretty interesting if they're going to be like the next, if those babies will be like the next baby boomers. I don't know. A lot of babies. There's something rather icky about spending thousands of dollars, thousands for a party, a wedding, says Winston's mom. I think the same way too, but I don't, if someone wants to do it, like that's their prerogative, you know. I'm 20 and my dad is Gen X. Okay, so that makes sense. So you're Gen Z then, right? Anova 5. So Gen X parents, I think, had less kids too. I mean, like Eric is Gen X and he has a Gen Z daughter. She's 1998. And she's an only child. So I believe when millennial children have a name, it's going to be like their population is going to be pretty big, I believe. Babies of millennials. I think it's fine to spend money you have on weddings, but I watched fathers take second mortgage, to pay for a wedding because of social pressure. That's not smart. No, it's not smart. It's not. I can think of people that I know who live lifestyles like that. Like, it's about the show, you know? It's about, here's what we're presenting to you. Have a good time. You think it's the culture? I think so too. In over 5, people just don't want commitment anymore. Yeah, like it's very interesting. I read a book by Aziz Ansari called Modern Love, and in it he travels to Japan, and he found out that in Japan there's a large group of men who are called herbivores, and basically they just, they don't have sexual intercourse. They stick with other men, and they're not really looking for commitment at all. Where on the flip side, the women are actually kind of struggling because they do want the commitment, but if they go and they hit on the guys first, it's taken as very aggressive. So I was talking to someone, it might have been Cameron, who was saying that there's like a lot of male escorts in Japan for women because of that. That's interesting that you question that, Anova 5, if you're in the right period of time or not. I used to think I was not in the right period of time a lot as a kid. Like, I always really resonated with the 60s as a kid because my parents, my dad, he was born in 1951, so he was like right in the middle of like Beatlemania and civil rights and the first a real time of civil unrest and Vietnam. But I loved the music of that culture, and so I connected. I felt like I always felt like I was older than my peers in some way. You like late 90s? You like 90s music? What do you like, Anova 5? I love 90s music. That's my jam. I was like I was like, what? Like 6 to like 13, 14 when I was in the 90s. That was when I was listening to radio all the time. Did you have a happy childhood, Winston's mom? I think my dad had a very happy childhood. He was also an only child. I think my grandma wanted more children, but she wasn't able to have them. And but I do believe that he had a happy childhood. My mom had a very different childhood. She had a good family and a lot of fun in the family, but her dad died in the 70s, so she was one of 6, and they lived in Yonkers, and she moved out early of the house because she didn't want to be there. So but she remembers when certain fashion styles like paisley. There's also a certain dress that she used to talk about, like girls wearing in the 60s as well. How she was more like that than a hippie. She was more subdued. Oh my gosh, and over 5, Eric hates Dave Matthews Band and Pearl Jam. Oh my god. He does not like those bands. I can't really say that. I went through a Dave Matthews Band phase in college. I was going through a phase where I had to find my own music. And Dave Matthews Band was one of those bands that I looked into. Thank you, Elisa Kama. I appreciate that. Winston's mom says, Anova 5, how are you doing with being single again? My sister and I are almost 6 years apart. It's like being an only child for the most part. Yeah, I could see that. So 6 years apart, me and my brother are 5 years apart, and when we were younger, we were really close. Like, I love babysitting him. I love being around him. I love being a big sister. I loved reading him books at night and just like playing fun games with him. But as we got older, it was different. Like, I was graduating high school when he was going into middle school. So there was a lot of like growing up that we didn't go through. Poochie was Paisley. Yeah, like it was something cheaper than that though. She used to like say like smock dresses because she used to make smock dresses and like gosh, I wish I remember. But she was definitely more like she likes Cat Stevens and she liked the Beach Boys. She didn't like the Beatles. She didn't like the Who. My dad liked the Beatles. He liked the Doors. He liked the Who. He liked Jefferson Airplane. My dad was more of the rock, and she was more like folky. I believe my brother is an ENFJ, and I believe he's an Enneagram 3. He does like to set up goals for himself. The fact that he is, I was actually surprised, that he got engaged. I thought it was going to be maybe like next year or the year after, especially because of the pandemic, and like I didn't know like how things were going at work, but his job is secure, so he was able to propose earlier. And so he, like I think they're going to have a long engagement, which is good. But I was surprised, which is nice. But that was definitely, marriage is a goal for him. He has our family house now. He owns the family house, and her lease is up in September. So he proposed on her birthday. Yeah, it's good that you're not the only INFJ ANOVA 5. There are INFJs out there. I think INFJs, if they don't know that they're INFJs, can feel like pretty alone and are pretty isolated. I'm the only INFJ that I know personally. I met Corey, Eric's friend, once, but because of the pandemic, we haven't seen each other. Like, we haven't gone to social things. So yeah, it is kind of like feeling like an alien in Nova 5. I'm sure for Winston's mom, it kind of felt like that. How did it feel for you, Winston's mom? Like, do you feel like you fit in with your times, and like as in generational times, and do you feel like you or do you think that like you felt different from others? You know what I mean? Especially being INTJ female, I have you come across any other? Shakir Bano, Eric is taking a bath and a nap. I just felt like chatting. I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. And this is like a ask me anything sort of thing. So I figured people could ask me questions and I would answer. So Winston's mom says, no, I've never fit into the times I'm presently living in. I've always been future focused. I never knew any other INTJ females, but I think I once worked with an INTJ male. We felt comfortable together. Yeah, I met one INFJ dude in my life, and it was very comfortable. It was like we both listened to each other, and we both but it just was like it worked well as friendship for me. I think INTJs and INFJs make good friends also. I know when I get together with an INTJ, we talk a lot about like future stuff and trying to make predictions, or how's this going to be and how's that going to be. That is so good. Hey, turn up the music. What's up? Are you listening to any good music lately? I always appreciate a good it's a coffee chat. It's coffee chat with Rachel. I always appreciate new suggestions in music. I try out anything pretty much. Yeah. Coffee chat, tea time. You know it. Shikari Bano says, I've seen you smoke weed very less nowadays. Have you reduced smoking weed? I wouldn't say so. I smoke the same amount like every day, but maybe I haven't been smoking that much on live streams. I try to not cough too much on live streams, so maybe subconsciously I haven't been smoking. I smoke every day. I think I'll probably pack a small a bowl now that you mention it, but I'm a stoner. I'm a heavy weed smoker, indeed. Yeah, it probably has subconsciously. I just try not to cough too much. It's an Effie thing. No, I smoke today. Like, I smoke every day. It's just not on screen all the time. I'm not on screen a lot, you know. I'm usually in the background. I haven't been listening to a whole lot of stuff lately. I've been busy with boring stuff like work and school, so turn up the music. I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. I live that life. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to transubstantiate a bong rip to this live stream because I super appreciate you guys being here. I want to see. How can I? There we go. That's better. I really need to. I can see you guys now. You need to keep up with the new releases. So do I. I have trouble with that sometimes. I would recommend Pandora. Turn up the music to find out a new stuff that is out. Pandora, when it's on like shuffle, can be really good to find new music and genres you like. Is it evening in our country? It is evening in our country. Shikari Bano. It's 5:24 p.m. Where are you from? Oh, 7:30. Are you East Coast? Nova 5? I transubstantiate this bong rip to the stream. Scott Steiner, the world's greatest ring announcer, says certain meditating can help calm down the NI, allow you to understand it more. I agree with that completely. I like to meditate, but my form of meditation usually happens when I'm sleeping. Because if I'm up, I am an Enneagram 7. If I am awake and listening to it, and there's no time when a type 7 is really still. Type 7s are really like jittery and scattered. So I like to listen to like meditations and like what do you call it? Like motivational things when I'm doing other things. I do agree that smoking is a meditative state. You can get into a meditative state with smoking. But I wouldn't recommend, like, I wouldn't say do it together like all the time. But when I do it, when I meditate and I smoke at the same time, it's very rewarding for me personally. Hi, Brock. You need hi, Brock, at work? You've not been on. It has been a while, Power Red Bull. It's INFJ. No one else has really questioned it, except for Cloud. I don't practice mindfulness, and I don't not overthink everything. I do overthink everything. Eric laughs at me a lot because, you know, things are so good that if I don't have something to think about, I find something. I always find something. Like, can this go up too? That's cuter. Thank you. Sean M says INFSE based. I don't know what you mean by that. I am an INFJ. So SE is in my 4th slot. So it's 4th is like what I try to do for solutions. Yeah, inferior SE is relatable. Cute shirt, raise arms. It's party time. Remind Eric to look up what the U.S. Marshals do. He's considering my proposal to abolish the FBI and reimpose the Marshals federal authority. I would love to tell him that. However, I will forget. I will remind him that Scott Steiner has something to tell him about the U.S. Marshal, but I'm not going to be able to remember like the details of it, so I'll just tell him to talk to you. You want a beer at Nova 5? Why? Sometimes I used to feel like that, but I don't really drink anymore because it's not good for me. I would get very high and mighty. Your roommate is an INFJ too? So I'm guessing nothing gets done. Nothing gets done until you guys are like feeling stressed. Do you does like your room get really like, I don't know, my room I'm pretty messy. I'm not a really neat person. I'm tidy, but I'm not neat. You know what I mean? So I don't like clean that often. So do you and your roommate have like a pretty like tidy place, but like not really like spotless? Yeah, he'll remember. He'll definitely remember Scott Steiner. I just it'll probably be best to talk to him about that. It's a shit show. I had an ENFP roommate. He did drugs too much, driving himself to catch the purple dragon. Says Scott Steiner, the world's greatest ring announcer. Well, see, you know, drugs are different for everyone. So, like, again, just because I smoke weed doesn't really mean that I like suggest that everyone do it. I knew an ENFP who couldn't smoke weed because he would definitely take other drugs after. Like he couldn't like stop there. I don't know. So he chose to not smoke weed. I don't know if he drinks. That I don't think he does either. He might be totally sober because he had a tough time with drugs. So I don't think we've had any earthquakes lately, Winston's mom. Sometimes I feel like I feel it, like the ground moving, but I'm never sure. But anything like notable, no, we have not had any. Ooh, lots of hard drugs, Scott Steiner. That sounds right. That sounds like the dude that I knew. He was my my friend at Trader Joe's. He was my manager, and he had a lot of trouble with drugs, so he stayed away from weed too. I respected that, but it would never work because I like marijuana. I think INFJ would be a considerable roommate. I feel like they wouldn't leave their dishes to pile up if they knew it would bother others in the household. You're right, turn up the music. I consider myself to be a pretty good roommate, when I was in college, I lived with an ESFJ and an ESFP. And I always said that I was like in the middle. Like the ESFJ was like so neat and tidy, like so clean, and like everything had its place. I was more like, okay, like I have magazines that I read. I'm gonna leave them on the coffee table. I had my little schedule of when I would clean the bathroom and stuff, but it was never really anything that like I really regimented. I didn't leave dirty dishes in the sink. I definitely didn't. Desert INTJ asks, do you like drugs other than pot? I haven't really, no, I don't. I haven't really tried that many drugs because I'm an INFJ and I really think that things will get crazy. Like, I'm pretty neurotic about certain things. And so I tried cocaine once, and the next day I had such a bad headache. Oh my God. The headache that I had was so bad. I was like, how does anyone really like this shit? I haven't tried shrooms. I might try with Eric. We don't know. I do have mental illness, so it can play in, and I'm a little nervous about that. But I do trust Eric, so if I were to try shrooms, it would be with Eric. Have you ever had a profound drug experience, something related to a drug? Asks slur of words S. Yeah, I have. I've had many. One that came to mind was one night, my friend and I, Jen, we were smoking weed, and we were at a Yeah Yeah Yes concert, and we were like so hyped. That was a really great drug moment because it was just like we were like so in the element of the place. And actually, Tove Lo too. We went to see Tove Lo, and we were smoking weed in the bathroom, and that night turned out to be magical too. We both got to meet her. I hugged her. I have magical times, I think, just in general. I'm not really sure, like, the drugs don't make it, like, I feel like it just, like, enhances however you are. So I am a little neurotic. Weed helps with that with me, though. I was really lucky because when I was a teen and in my early 20s, I was friends with a group of people who would smoke every day and do things, like go to work and stuff. So it was very normalized for me. Like, weed was very normalized. Like, I would walk into places and I would be high, and like I didn't look or act like a typical stoner would. And I didn't get nervous on it. So it never made me really neurotic until I got older and I was living at home with my parents because they didn't like it. But yeah, so I would say those two concerts were like we were high, and they were really, really fun, like really like magical, like fun, like moments. Yeah, LCD sound system. So I guess anytime I smoke weed and I'm at a concert, it's a good time. Movies too, but concerts definitely. Let me get down. I'm not looking to do, honestly, Scott Steiner, I'm not looking to do anything besides smoke weed. Like, I love smoking weed. I've never had a problem with it. It's like, what do you call this? Like a soothing thing for me. It's a pacifier. So I'm lucky in that, because like I know people who like get very nervous smoking weed. I'm not one of those people. I also am on like heavy, like I'm like medicated for bipolar, so I really shouldn't do any other sort of drugs. So the answer to the question, have I done any other drugs besides weed, is yes. I did cocaine one night and I hated it, never did it again. So I just smoke weed. Thank you, Shakari Bano. I don't drink, honestly. I used to drink. I stopped drinking in 2019. And living with Eric, we drink non-alcoholic beer. Like, I have an old Duels over there. We drink a lot of coffee. Sometimes I'll drink with Eric's dad, like casually, but I really do not like drinking. Every time I drink too much to have a good time, I wake up the next day and I'm like, that was a mistake. Like, what the fuck did I say? I sounded like a moron. Like, I regret it. And so, Karma's Pimp, no, I don't. I don't drink. It's good that you don't like Coke. Winston's mom says, Desert RN2J. I will. Somehow I missed checking out your channel. Thanks. The Black Labs can be so darn smart. Have you done a doggy IQ test on him or her? Question mark. I love Black Labs. I love chocolate labs. I like labs in general. I think they're really cute. I love golden retrievers too. Well, like, see, like, I just had such a bad experience with cocaine that, like, I'm not into it. Great question, turn up the music. So, my college experience was a little bit different than others. So, I was born and raised in New York, and I went to college in Pennsylvania, about 2 hours away at Kutztown in Pennsylvania. And my first year there was really tough. I lived in an all-girl dorm. I was like in a really small room, and I didn't know anyone there. Like, I didn't go to college with a friend or anything. I went on my own. So, it was really lonely. I had a great roommate. Luckily, I had a great roommate, and she... Hi! Oh, that's why.
It was just ritual alone. So.
No, people asking for you, so you're more than welcome to join. So my freshman year was really lonely. The dorm room that I was living in, like, a lot of the girls didn't even talk to each other. It must have been a hallway of introverts because no one said hello. My sophomore year was a little bit difficult also because I lived with my previous roommate who I loved. But she started going out with my best friend, so I saw her less. And I lived with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other girls in one suite. So we had like a common area, dorm room, dorm room, dorm room, dorm room. And I didn't get along with the other girls. And a lot of the other girls, because they lived in Pennsylvania, they would go home for the weekend. And I was left alone. So I had a terrible sophomore year. It was very lonely also. I really considered transferring out quite more than once at my time at Kutztown. My time at Kutztown changed, however, my junior year when I moved out, and I moved in with an ESFP and an ESFJ. I made a lot of new friends. They didn't go home on the weekends. They wanted to party. And partying is really light. I was always the one who went home first. I was like such an old lady. But yeah, and senior year was great because I had Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays off. So I had a great junior and senior year. Terrible freshman and sophomore year. So college to me was a good social experiment. Like I learned a lot of like social skills that I wouldn't have had if I didn't go to college. Like I think I would be much more of a hermit if I didn't go to college. Look who's here, everyone.
Brr, it's cold.
Yeah.
Hey, 52 minutes. That's pretty good. Give Rachel 52 minutes before the reality that I was not going to nap, and also that it was too late to nap now.
Aww.
So then, I had a bath too, you know.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes. The bath was hot and wet.
Oh, that sounds nice.
I was thinking, I'm thinking variety of things about the like, one of the things I was thinking in the bathtub was we should talk about subtypes of BPD victims. The double down, that's when the person is BPD themselves gets with another BPD person and they both victimize each other. The glutton for punishment, the person who wasn't abused themselves but has this weird Florence Nightingale thing and repeatedly tried to save BPD people. And what I would call, both Rachel and me, the busted cherry, where we hadn't known abuse and then we got into a BPD relationship.
Yeah.
And then we don't know it since.
Yes.
It's like, you know,
busted cherry.
Yeah, you could also, in some parts of the country, they call it the wake-up call. That's a more like less vulgar way to say it, I guess.
Some good thinking.
Another thing I was thinking about is what's the deal with what I'm thinking about is what exactly are you ignoring is a very good question to understand functions when we're in the fifth slot function, because when we talk about slots, well, fifth slot's ignoring. You're ignoring that function, but what you're ignoring is a different thing for each function, depending on the kind of function it is. So, for example, if you're NI ignoring, you're ignoring opportunities to gather data points for the purpose of collapsing them into a singular answer or whatever. If you're NE ignoring, you're ignoring opportunities to generate new shit off of stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I said that in the chat actually.
If you're TI ignoring, you're ignoring discrepancies in other people's languages. If you're FE ignoring, you're ignoring cues that other people are giving both intentionally and unintentionally as to their state of being and perception. No, it means the same thing now, Winston's mom. But that's why I say that's the analogy there. And ignoring SI means you're ignoring cues about what your own body's telling you or what your experience is telling you, So in other words, here's a piece of, here comes meow in from the world, which is event, okay? Circumstance, situation. Like go to the store, You're going into the store, there's all kinds of shit around you, and you're selectively attending to certain things. And you're selectively ignoring certain things. So while Rachel's going through the store in this receive mode, like sort of receiving, just being in the store, I'm going through the store, seeing things and making up jokes in my head about those things, or ignoring everything I'm seeing and thinking about something that I started thinking about before I went into the store, right? So it's, meanwhile, she's ignoring the opportunity to generate new ideas off of those things because she's still waiting to get to the very biggest frame in the universe. The INFJs, they start knowing way down here, and they know a little bit bigger, and they know a little bit bigger, and a little bit. They're waiting until they finally know absolutely everything. And then, watch out.
He's right. He's right.
If you're ignoring FI, you're ignoring opportunities to link the things, experience or whatever, to your interests. If you're ignoring TE, you're ignoring, like this thing that just happened right earlier. I'm kind of waiting for a miniature avalanche to happen, which is to say, for months now, my dad has been updating me on the health of 3 people. His best friend, basically, best remaining friend, the friend who stayed friends with them all the way. He goes and visits them periodically. Don't be disappointed. I gave Rachel almost a full hour by herself before I came out.
Yeah, don't be disappointed. I'm happy you're here.
What was I saying before I got distracted? The dad thing, right. So my dad comes out here when I'm working with my student earlier and looks rather more emotionally like shaken than he normally does. And tells me that Richard has been back to the hospital again with bacterial pneumonia, I think he said. Which, if you know anything about very old people with heart and cardiovascular issues like Richard has, that's usually the final diagnosis. So some kind of pneumonia,
Yeah.
So he's looking at 3 or 4 days probably. The thing is, for about 6 months now or so, or at least, maybe even a little bit longer, we've been tracking the health of my Uncle Lonnie, his best friend Richard, and my cousin Julie, all of whom are likely to be dealing with end-of-life stuff right now. My cousin Julie is my age, but she's having a lot of health problems associated with cancer and the treatment for cancer. And so anyway, the bottom line is my dad came out here today and I was working. So I said, hold on a second, Chloe. And I talked to him for a little bit. I got everything he had to say. And I said, okay, I understand. And I will be, I don't know if I said I'll be done with this client. It's just I'm working with this client right now, but try to kind of give a vibe anyway of, but I'll talk to you when I'm done. And then, after he was done telling me everything he had to say, and I said, okay, cool. And then he said, are you going to the dentist tomorrow? I said, yeah, it's tomorrow. And he said, okay. And then he went back in, and I felt kind of bad. Like, it looked like maybe my dad was wanting to talk. And that was a situation where I should have said, you know what, it's Chloe, I got to reschedule. I need to talk to my dad right now. And I wish I had done that. Right. Well, when I was done with Chloe, by the time I was done with Chloe, I realized, like, I wish I had done that. But my dad had gone to the store to run an errand or something. So I was like, God, fuck. Right. What I was really concerned about is the FE of the whole thing. Like, I want to make sure my dad knows that I'm taking this seriously enough and care about him enough and not just dismissing this thing lightly or whatever. So when he comes back, I go in and was like, hey, Dad, I'm sorry I was, working earlier, but if let me know if you need anything, if you want to talk about this or anything. We didn't get a chance to sort of talk it out earlier. And he's like, what's there to talk about? I think we talked about everything, didn't we? I think you need to know, right? Okay, Dad. Thank you for letting me know that you've already said everything you had to say about the matter. Because, of course, the thought, my dad, for him, this notion is crazy notion. Someone might want to talk about either their feelings or what something means. We've already discussed the TE related stuff, son. Those are the only things there are to discuss in the world. TE things. Why would we want to? What else would there be to talk about? I told you I might be leaving soon in 3 or 4 days. Blah blah blah. It's like, Dad, I'm trying to, like, be caring, and I love the fact that my dad shits on feelings so much, right? Because every time I feel guilty about not, like, caring about his feelings enough, he basically scolds me for bothering him.
You know what it's like? It's like two ships passing in the night.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, I think about my mom, and I think back about their relationship. They were both very anti-FI. They just weren't having it with FI.
My
Fourth
sister.
and sixth, they just weren't having it with FI, and we're not gonna get all emotional about this now. Even my mom was like that, Although herself, she was super man. She was demonstrative but countervaluing.
Oh my gosh, I could totally picture that.
Yeah, so part of the problem we have when we're talking about, like, slot mechanics is to ignore an action function means to ignore a different kind of thing, an opportunity, than to ignore a knowledge function, which is a very different kind of opportunity, right? It's like to ignore receiving means you're gonna walk by lost in thought and either fail to receive things people say, fail to receive cues from the environment, stuff like that. It also means if you're a receiving type, that your default is going to be something like watching TV or watching movies or listening to music or something, because that's receiving. I feel like I'm back into my default now, and I'm finding it hard to consume media again. And that's been my default for a long time. And then I went through this long period of, I think, I imagine this scene of like the olden days with, you know, like big forests and guys riding horses around and stuff, and swords and stuff, and these two people straggling back to camp from each having been survivors of winning but very Pyrrhic victories, coming back to camp, and there being some sort of ceremony where the priestess of the camp and the camp chief make some sort of miaz over you, and then they bury the people under these leaves and loamy dirt and stuff, and they lie there for 3 days, and then they come out, and they've been freed of all the various damages that have been done to them during the battles, right? Psychic and physical. And so I feel like I was in my loamy dirt leaf moss lay bed thing there for quite some stretch of time, really. The last 6 months or something. There's no disputing that. I think the the global mass hysteria about COVID was a shock to everyone's system, whether you believe it to be hysteria or not. If you don't believe it to be hysteria, it's an ongoing shock to your system because you're still in an ongoing state of wrongness.
Yeah.
If you do understand it to be hysteria, you're recovering from the fact, okay, we've had mass hysteria and we're still experiencing the aftermath and the it's like if you imagine the world having the most epically worst series of Thanksgiving meltdowns in history, like the family's worst Thanksgiving. That's what COVID will go down in humanity's history as. But for people who are still drunk at the party and still making an ass of themselves, they don't even they're still caught up in the illusionary problems of that moment and are unable to big frame out and go, oh, this will go down in history as humanity's worst Thanksgiving dinner, in which all the relatives got incredibly drunk. They started beating each other with sticks. Bobby Sue, crashed Uncle Joe's car. It's like the nightmare Thanksgiving dinner of humanity, right? But for those of us who understand it to be hysteria, the shock is receding. The shock recedes because you go, there's a long period of denial. People can't be jumping off the cliff like lemmings. That can't possibly be happening. Look at all the bloodshed, And then gradually you recognize it is happening. And then you go, not only is it happening, but it's still happening. And they're doubling down and quadrupling down and octupling down. And you go, okay, so I get it. There's a runtime error. And the error in the code is 10, meow, 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 40, go to 10, meow, meow, meow. So it's like right now we're in a runtime error of sorts, narratively, as the human race is. That's a normal Thanksgiving for some of us. Well, it's not supposed to be a normal Thanksgiving, okay? You're supposed to have better Thanksgivings than that. Ignorance thrives on hysteria. Well, I would say hysteria thrives on ignorance. But I think that's false too. Hysteria thrives on attachment. The problem isn't that people are wrong. There's no problem with being wrong. The problem is that people don't like to realize they've been wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I am surprised by that as well, Isaiah Williams. I'm surprised that I'm surprised, I guess, that the media needed specifically me and my narratives, because mine are the right ones, and I genuinely haven't heard them at all. Like, you never see anywhere, what about if we let it run its course? I've never read that anywhere. Isn't that crazy? I honestly have never read it anywhere. I've been shouting from the rooftops from day one. But that's not disinformation. That's not crazy conspiracy theory guy. That's not Trump right winger. Blah, blah. It's not leftist. It's not group shit, right? It's like a basic question that we should all have asked and answered before making decisions. What happens if we let it run its course? Nobody's asked the question. It's crazy. It's weird. It makes me put a poo in my mouth.
It is pretty crazy.
The thing that's crazy is I've never read in any article, in all the articles I've read about COVID, the expression "let it run its course." I've never read that one time.
No, me neither. Evening, Donald.
This is your stream, Rachel. It's your responsibility. Don't expect me to entertain people, okay?
I hope you do.
I'm just joking, my darling.
Oh my god, like, this is how he treats me to see this. Like,
no, this is how you treat me.
You're just projecting all your shit
you
on
are,
me. Like,
baby,
I don't
you
even
are.
know what you're saying, okay? Like, how many times have I told you you really need to work on your attitude?
Okay, we talked about attitude yesterday, and whose attitude was the problem? Your attitude.
I don't think I even remember yesterday, okay?
But that's the problem, isn't it? Because yesterday was really important to me, and you just like shit all over it.
Well, you're living in the past.
Well, I know, but you're living in the future, and it's never going to happen because you're such a bitch.
Well, I don't like your tone of voice. And again, look at your attitude.
Hey, I'm the one who's working hard here to make this work. You just keep failing at everything.
You just hurt my feelings.
And scene. We titled that one act play "Idiots in Love." Idiots in Love is a good title for that one act play.
It really is. One act play.
I think they should make the vagina monologues into a trilogy. The vagina monologues, the vagina dialogues, and the vagina catalogs. I think it's a feature film franchise with a big future.
Vagina monologues?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to write a treatment of that, plus the two sequels, vagina dialogues and vagina catalogs, and sell it to a major motion picture studio. When you do, cut me down a little bit, like, a little chunk of change, and say, Eric, thanks for that idea. It worked.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Sounds like, I mean, it can make its mark on the world again.
Well, you know what somebody's definitely going to steal from us since we've talked about it now.
Yeah,
right?
Right. It's out in the open.
That's right. Home more. The idea for a musical film that's the corollary to Sister Act, but with homeless people and dancing. That idea, I guarantee you, we will see that in the theaters. Since we've let out the genius idea.
Yeah, I know.
Of an impassioned young college graduate woman starting a dance troupe of homeless people. And we already have given out the gold elevator pitch. It's like Sister Act, but with homeless people and dancing. You can expect to see it in probably by April 2022, I would say at the latest. You will see that in theaters. Whoopi Goldberg will not be playing the dance instructor, but she will have a cameo role as a social worker who's helping one of the homeless people. So keep your eyes open for that blockbuster hit. Followed by Secret Santa, our Christmas hit, in which in downtrodden Detroit, an old man conspires with his crafty ways and his handy hands to make Christmas dreams come true for the children of Detroit. How? He makes a silent stealth helicopter and pretends to be Santa Claus and delivers presents until a corrupt bureaucracy tries to shut him down for not having the right flight permits. And then somebody saves Christmas.
You're welcome, world.
You're welcome. You expect to see it. Expect to see it this upcoming Christmas season. Secret Santa. The heartwarming story of a lovable old what are those people called who are like crotchety old guy, you know? A lovable old crotchety old handyman who makes the Christmas dreams of Detroit children come true.
What's more heartwarming than that?
Nothing more heartwarming. There's a big gun battle scene in the MGM Grand of Detroit. We'll have to get film permits for that because old geriatric guy goes, this is my 84th Christmas. You guys want to kill it? You guys want to ruin it? It's gonna be your last.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
And everyone goes running from the MGM Grand and Detroit. Ah! And then he throws it down. Bam! Like, hark the herald angels calling, motherfuckers.
Can I add a romantic element to it?
Yes.
There's a nice maybe ISFJ who works at a diner, and she
Yes, but don't have him go out with the old man. Listen, he has a helper, a teenage girl helper in the neighborhood, who at first he's trying to push away. Get away from me, you old teenage girl. I don't like teenagers. But deep down beneath his crotchety ways, he has a lovable heart. So he lets her help.
Yes.
And one day she pulls out an old notebook. What's this, Mr. Meow Meow Meow? Put that away. That's not for you to see. And it's plans for his Secret Santa helicopter. And it's her infusion of enthusiasm into his old life he had pretty much given up that causes him to follow through on his project. And just when it's about to fail at the last minute, he thought he shot them all, but he's walking away. And the audience sees one of them is still alive and gets up and got a shotgun, about to blow Santa away in the back of the head. And the girl, and then all of a sudden you see the villain, ha ha ha, and then there's a knife, boom, on his head, and he falls backwards and falls down. And the girl goes to the Santa guy, goes, every Santa needs his elf.
This is like a hit film. Really, thank you, world. You're welcome.
We watched. Here's something I would best guess would never happen. Cameron recommended a video for us to watch yesterday that we watched, and I'm very glad we watched it.
Dude.
It's called Kung Fury. It's I believe it's free. I don't think we had to rent it or anything. No. And it's made by a Kickstarter campaign and the Swedish Film Institute and various other art shit or whatever. Has anybody else seen it? Kung Fury? I'll put a link to it.
It's really good.
It's basically
It's not wrong either.
What I've determined is the filmmaking approach is they just decided to write down a list of all the tropes they could think of. No, it's not art shit or whatever. They wrote down all the tropes they could think of from this variety of movie and just strung them together back to back with no related narrative line. So it like plays like a complete film, but there's no context to anything that happens. And it's pretty entertaining. Like the last fight scene where he's kicking all these people's asses is pretty good. No, not by Adam Sandberg. It's an English language Swedish martial arts comedy. It's only 30 minutes long too. It should be stated. It's 31 minutes long. So even though it's a feature film, I guess you'd say, it's a little bit short. Here, you can see the whole thing for free. You don't have to even just see the trailer. The whole thing is right there for free. So, it's like interesting. Also, kind of seeing what Cameron didn't quite understand about what they were doing. Like Cameron was under the impression that David Hasselhoff had some sort of part in this movie, but he didn't at all. It was just a reference, and I guess I didn't want to explain it because it's sort of an intuitive.
It was his voice. It wasn't his voice.
No.
Oh.
Can you play the recklessly insane police chopper pilot who goes down in flames at the end of the climactic down air to air helicopter battle with Santa? Well, you know what I think might happen is in that climactic battle, the real Santa. You're not sure if it's really him, but there's sort of the faint silhouette of Santa and his reindeer, and you see it in the background and go, "What's that?" And you see slowly, very slowly, get bigger, bigger. It's a peacekeeping missile shot from Santa, and he blows up the police helicopter. And the old guy goes, "What?" And Santa gives a merry wink,
I like that.
And then you hear sleigh bells, and he goes away.
Oh my gosh! It's like you just had a mic drop.
I think it's a very great Christmas movie, Secret Santa.
We've been in the talks of it for a year.
Yeah, for quite a while now. We've been in talks with each other about it. But anyway, about that Kung Fury, I was thinking it would be it'd be fun to do a similar thing with anime tropes, or just say at least even to get like very small clips and string them together of the tropes. But ideally, it would just sort of be a funny idea to make a video that's the same concept of Kung Fury, but just all anime tropes, because they're so specific ones in anime. This scene always happens somewhere in an anime. The disadvantaged person either grew up poor or comes from a primitive world or whatever, has a chance to taste Japanese food for the first time, and they do this. It's just like, suspicious. Oh, so delicious. Oh my God. There's always that scene in every anime. There's the scene of the strong good guy who's very important, and the main characters are there, and something's gone wrong, and they've got to report it to this main important guy or get something from him, seek something from him or whatever. And one of their groups says something rude, and they'll go, and then the powerful good guy, there's silence as he stares in a steely fashion at the anime characters, and then he goes, "Whoa!" To show that, everyone's super tense, but He's actually a cool guy. He's a cool guy. He thought it was funny. He's not mad. There's always that scene, right? There's always the scene where the two people attack each other, and this one's like, ah! And thinks that they've won. And then you see both of them past each other, and then they show the one who thought they won go, what? And the blood comes out of their mouth, and the other one goes, you know, there's always that scene.
So good.
The thing is, you can't record anime with your OBS. You can't record your screen when it's playing certain things. Like if you try to record your screen while playing Netflix, it will just come out black. It won't record it. If you try to record your screen while playing Crunchyroll, it just comes out black. Same thing for some things on YouTube, but not all things on YouTube. So I tried to record the screen and see, in order to clip that awesome ending of that Batman movie where he goes, let's go. But inconspicuously out the window, we'll use the bat rope. Our work here is done. It's like, but especially before our worker is done, he says, let's leave here, and it's very sure, but inconspicuously out the window in the bat rope, you know, it's like, it's just, it seems like a good emoji almost. Like if you want to express something in a thread, like somebody's making no sense, like, I want a pineapple, therefore let's dig a hole in this mud or something. You know, it's like it's unconnected. Then you put that there as a, like, you're like this or whatever. Or whatever. It's important to add that to the end of sentences. Please do it as frequently as possible. I teach the whole world. I write the songs that make the whole world sing.
Do.
I don't. Unfortunately, I don't. I was very, very happy today when I got an email from Chris Chapin correcting me on how to play Type Police. He already had the thing figured out before I ever put that video up, you know? That's very flattering to me. Someone went out of their way to try to figure out one of my songs. It's like, wow, that's spectacular.
That is.
And he did a better job of figuring it out than I did, for sure. So I very gratifying. Because it's not like he went out of his way to tell me, oh, I figured out your song or something. In other words, there's no FE to it. I didn't know he figured out the song at all until he had a reason to correct me because I had figured it out wrong. What kind of discount Tom Cruise would I be if I didn't do my own stunts? Answer, an extra discounted one. Oh yeah, I never really looked into them. You know, I am pretty self-absorbed, for instance, Mom. I will look into it though. Does it qualify as a cottage in your TI book of knowledge? Well, does it have unusually small shingles and rounded corners where there should be points? If so, then yes. Oh, I haven't actually looked at your pictures of your cottage yet. I've sort of stayed away from my email today because the next thing on my email list to deal with is an email from Jeff Shaw where he's like, explain yourself, blah, 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 the title or something like that. And I plan to just send him a response that says, if you want to talk to me, just call me, you know, like when I'm not live streaming or something. I don't want to play email tit for tat or whatever it is, but so I guess that's kind of why I've been ignoring my email today, because I don't want to deal with that. Of course, Jeff Shaw is smart enough to put sort of a challenge in the title. Because I'm like, what, you think I can't explain myself? You know, I'll explain myself just fine. Oh. Well, you know, that's just good titling by Jeff Shaw. That's not really a smart response by me. Let's smoke some bowls, shall we?
Yeah.
I think it's been I really have been a little bit.
Ow.
I've been not very good about keeping up with my pot smoking today.
Oh my gosh. Someone in the chat before while you were in the bath said that if they noticed that we have been smoking less.
Well, they weren't obviously here the other day when we had to give transubstantiated bong rips to everybody.
Yeah.
That made us burn that transubstantiation fest. We burned through that pot about like half a day faster than we otherwise would have.
Yeah.
It was fine. It's weird.
That was a good bong rip.
I totally feel though that I've gone from waiting, not really anything to do, not very busy, to really super busy all of a sudden, and nothing's really changed. But it's just you know, the log jam broke and everything's flowing again. So if you have an earthquake prep plan,
Wait,
we have stuff in the garage. Like,
are they saying that we're supposed to get a earthquake?
no, I don't predict earthquakes.
Oh.
I mean, they only predict
Did you
earthquakes
have a dream?
if there's like a volcano nearby or something.
Oh.
Please don't dip me into that magma. Please don't catch my bones on fire. New week energy read. Donna Lloyd. Okay.
Sweet. Yeah, sure thing.
Where's your... I like your little deck best.
Isn't it fun? And it's so easy to shuffle.
It just has the coolest pictures.
It's so cool. It's in my little area. I love them.
Rachel, I thought we agreed you weren't going to call your vagina your little area anymore. Okay. I'll pull one, Rachel pull one, I'll pull one, Rachel pull one. You get a 4 pull. Okay. The last one will be the frame. Here's your left card. The leftmost card you get. This is New Week Energy. Your leftmost card is XX.
I think it's Judgment.
So
Let me just double check.
20.
Yeah, Judgment.
All right, so cool. Judgment. You know what that means. It means you're like a rose budding inside of a croissant. Now Rachel's going to pull one. This is the middle one. We start with the left, then we go middle, then we go right, then we go top.
I'm going to shuffle a little bit and then
Sure.
cut.
Shuffle. 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 You see, Brian, pull cards one by one, and each person guess what the next card will be? Sure, I'll do that. We could do that. So your middle card, lady, Donna Lloyd, is you've got spider torso syndrome. Let me add this. 7 of Pentacles. So I think what this says is your table has enough legs already. Start putting stuff on top of it. Now I'll do the right card.
Clear this bomb group.
Eight Swords. It looks like maybe you're the bait for a trap. You know that the person who's going to sneak up on you is going to be trapped, but so you can't help but look back so you know they're there, but you're trying to pretend like you don't know they're there. That's what this picture makes me think, right? This girl is a decoy for a trap. She knows it, and she's supposed to pretend like she doesn't know that there's a trap set, so that she doesn't know somebody's going to sneak up on her, but she does know, so she keeps trying to peek in behind, you know? Interestingly. Now, of course, being the decoy for a trap or the bait for a trap is not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't mean you're eaten by the thing that gets trapped. It just means that's what draws the thing to you. Now, me to do the last one? Did you do that one or did I do that one?
You did that one. I do this.
This one is for you. Okay. Eight of Swords is feeling trapped. Oh, this one. Okay. This is the frame of reference. Il frame de référence. I think that worm is from the bottom of a tequila bottle, maybe. In which case, you've got a Mexican adventure upcoming. What is this one? 3 of what? Pence?
Yeah.
What is this one supposed to mean normally? 3 of Pentacles?
Apprenticeship.
Oh, apprenticeship, right. That's 3 of Pentacles. What's the 3 of Wands again?
Waiting for your ship to come in.
Oh, okay, cool. Right. I got those 2 confused. All right, let's play Winston's mom's game. If everybody knows what cards are in the deck, we're going to play Guess What Card Eric pulls, okay? Rachel and I will play it too.
Okay.
I'll hold it before anybody sees it, including me and Rachel. This is the card I pulled, but nobody can see it, including me and Rachel. All right, so what card did I pull?
Do we say it?
Put your guesses in the live chat, okay? Put your guesses in the live chat.
What card is it? Put your guesses in the chat.
I hear Justice is paying 5 to 1. Winston says, Winston's mom says 7 of Swords. Anybody else want to make a
That's my guess too, actually.
one of the guys says 5 of Cups, 7 of Swords, 5 of Cups, 7 of Swords, 6 of Swords. Okay, I'm gonna guess the Hanged Man. What is this one? I can't see.
Ace of Cups.
Ace of Cups. This is the Ace of Cups. Did anybody get the Ace of Cups? No. No Ace of Cups is? Okay, well, those of you who were in Cups land, you know, that's better than me. I was off in Major Arcana land, so I was way off base. Okay, here we go. Next pull. This one right here. I don't know what it is. Nobody's seen it. What do you guess? What do you guess, Rachel?
Okay. I guess. What did I have? Oh, the Hermit.
You guess the Hermit? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I'm guessing 7 of Cups this time. All right, here it is. What is this one?
10,
X,
12.
X,
The Hangman.
12. Oh, this is the hangman.
That's what you get.
That's what I guessed last time. My guessing is like I have to calibrate the time, right? Because it's currently off by about 2 minutes or something, apparently.
Okay, no one got it.
All right. Okay. Try number 3. So far I'm 0 for 2. Try number 3. Let's see.
It's 12. So 12 is the hangman. Yeah, men like God's me too. It's interesting that most people actually.
All right. I'm going to guess I haven't looked at it. Rachel hasn't looked at it. I'm going to guess the one with the boat where one guy's standing on the shore and the other guy's sailing away. What's that one called?
3 of Wands.
Is that 3 of Wands?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm guessing 3 of Wands.
I'm guessing.
Donna Lloyd, is that your guess for this one? Karma's Pimp, you're guessing 12 of Pence.
4 of Wands.
We're just going 4 of Wands, 2 of Swords, Chariot. Oh, let's see what it is. Ten
Wheel
of nothing.
Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune. I got it wrong.
This is a tough game. This is a really tough game.
All right, let's play a different game here. Let's play Major Arcana or Suit.
Oh, that's good.
Major Arcana or Suit. Major or
Suit.
So you're going to say either Major Arcana, Cups, Wands, Swords, or Pence.
Yeah.
Okay? Major, Cup, Wands, Swords, Pence. Major, Cup, Wands, Swords, or Pence. So you only have 5 choices now. Major, Cup, Wands, Swords, or Pence. And so basically what you got to tell yourself is this a major? Is this a feelings card? Is it a thinking card? Is it a money and resources card? Or is it a creativity card? We got 2 votes for Wands.
I'm going for major.
You know what? I'm influenced by the masses. I'm going Wands. I'm gonna jump on the Wands bandwagon. This is kind of like crafts this way. See, what is it? It is major, right? That's
Boom! Major. I get a point.
You get a point.
Yep,
Rachel gets a point. 13.
13th death.
Okay. Donald Lloyd and Karma's Pimp, you sold me on the Wands. You led me down the Wands trail of deception. That's what you did. Okay. I'm going to no scene. Okay, so I'm going to now pull another card and we're going to guess So, okay, I'm going to guess this card here. Let me see what it feels like. Does it feel like feelings? Does it feel like money? Does it feel like creativity? Does it feel like thinking? Or does it feel like major? Feels like swords. Feels like a sword.
I guess swords as well.
I'm guessing swords on this one. I'm guessing swords. Okay, so Horse Bumper's going cups. Pimp. Karma's Pimp's going pence. I'm going swords. Rachel's going swords. Place your bets. Place your bets. Place your bets. Place your bets. Thinking is swords. Thinking is swords. Okay, so we got another swords on board here. What is it? It is. What is this?
Knight of Pentacles.
Knight of Pentacles. Karma's Pimp.
Karma's Pimp, you get a point.
Karma's Pimp, you win all the money from all the bets. If it were like poker. Okay. So we have 1 point apiece. If you're playing competitive tarot guess, Rachel and Karma's Pimp each have 1 point apiece. If anybody else put pence there, that one wins the point. Yes, money is pence.
Pence is
money, thinking, emotion, and creative resources, like creative solutions or whatever, is represent meow, 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 and meow, respectively. Oh, yeah, they do. Just like Axel Foley's classic hits of the 1980s. Okay, here we go. Next card. What is it? What is it? What is it? Is it a major? Is it a wand? Is it a cup? Is it a pent?
I'm going cups.
Okay, Rachel's going cups. I see out there wands. I see a pence. Pence is sensing. Okay. So what's the difference between pence and wands?
Pence is money. Wands is creativity.
Okay, so wands is intuition and pence is sensing versions of like doing shit or whatever. I'm going major. I'm feeling it. In fact, I'm going to guess the major. It's the death card. This one feels like death. Let's see.
It was a major.
It was a major, but I don't think that one's death.
No, it's not death.
That looks like a bored little boy.
5.
That's 4.
For the emperor.
Ah, the emperor. I get a point. I got a point.
You got a point.
Point for Eric. Woo, 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 woo. Eat it, suckers! Eat it! I win!
Oh.
I got a point. Okay. This one is what?
Major.
Judge. She says major. I don't know why I just feel the emotion in this one. I'm going cups.
Okay.
I think it may be making my palms sweaty.
Ooh, I think you're.
That's how you can tell if
that's
it's
why
got
my
emotion.
palms are sweaty, because I get nervous.
No, that's the moisture of your dewdrops in your heart and tender moisture emotions. All right, so I'm feeling cups. You said major, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else want to put your bets down on this one? Want to put your bets down? I'm saying cups. She's saying major.
Donna saying cups. Commerce Pimp saying Wheel of Fortune.
You know, if you have the both the answer and the specs right, it pays 2 to 1. Okay, here we go. The answer is, I said cup. Richard said major. It was a sword.
Oh.
It was a sword the whole time.
None of us got it right.
All right, that ends that game. It's a 3-way tie.
That's pretty good.
It's a metaphor for life. It's a 3-way tie.
3-way tie. That is a metaphor for life.
Here's an interesting thing worth noting before we probably wrap this up pretty soon here. But so my kid has to do this world religions paper, and asked me, the high school one, not the middle school one. The high school one asked me, what should I do the paper on? I said, well, it's obvious. You should talk about how religious traditions that subsume the secular under the sacred comprise ideologies and are therefore fundamentally anathema to civil society. And you should specifically focus on Islam. And interestingly, the teacher wouldn't let him do it. The teacher first said, well, we're not really covering this material, so it's supposed to be a research paper. It's supposed to be material we're not covering, right? He said, it's fine. I'm happy to do the extra research. He said, no, you can't do that. I said, what?
Is the teacher Muslim?
No. I'm sure they're just, they've got woke phobia. The fear of not being woke enough. Yeah, we'll wrap this out. Are you trying to encourage me to wrap it up? Is that what you're saying?
good bummer.
Yeah, it was. That was a good bummer for me too. Here's the deal. To me, I just start salivating. Like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. They made the fatal mistake again. They made another fatal mistake. This time, no, of course I know that this time is the same as every other time. I'm dealing with a mom who's unipolar and an interfacer. She fundamentally doesn't want action deliberation approach to it, no matter how much better it is, because for her it feels like betting on a long shot. But for me, she's betting on 100% certainty of a terrible outcome. So I don't like that. Like I said, well, you're right. To a certain extent, it is true that Jeffrey could successfully trade in all of his dignity, autonomy, and free expression in order to successfully jump through these hoops, graduate with college with the benefit of having done that. Is it your impression that he will be happy that he made that choice? That will serve him well in some way?
Right.
Because, you're saying, do the things that everyone can do and is doing. I thought you wanted your kid to be high achieving. That's never going to happen that way. That's where I can get her, a little bit to try to make some progress here. But this is a private school, man, like God's. This is one of the best private schools in Los Angeles County, or by reputation, not actually. I've been thoroughly unimpressed with Polly, but as the actual teacher who cleans up the mess they leave behind, that's my job basically. The mother complains they never what was I gonna say?
They never.
Yeah. Oh, right. The mother always says the teachers never teach. They just give assignments. And they leave the students to learn on their own or something. Huh. It's like that's what's happened to that's what's come to represent high achievement is high standards with no teaching. And it's insane. It's completely fucking insane. In addition, the English teacher, that's not the world religions teacher, but the English teacher has prohibited her students formally from, officially prohibited them from working with a tutor or other English teacher in any way on anything from her class. Now, Obviously, Jeffrey doesn't obey that. But think about it. Think about what she's saying. You are not allowed to learn. You aren't allowed to learn what you want. That's my teaching rule. I control you're outside of class time. I'm doing a bad job of teaching you, and you're not allowed to seek the services of somebody who does a good job.
Right.
How crazy is that?
I've never heard of that before.
I mean, I've heard of it in one other instance. And who was it in that instance? An ENFP speech coach who made that rule this rule for her debaters, that the debaters had to make up all their own arguments and do all their own research and not be taught anything about argumentation. In other words, it's just default bias towards her own dominant function. You need to make up everything because After all, TI doesn't matter, and I make up everything. Oh, well. If it's, the thing is, I have no say in the final decision making on how these people deal with this situation at all. But here's the good news, Winston's mom. It's not frustrating for me because I'm ignoring. I don't find it frustrating. I can have these conversations with her over and over and over again. I don't know. They always make me laugh. It's like, do you not listen to me? I tell you every time the same thing, that we're not going to see eye to eye on this because this is the approach I recommend. This is the approach you insist on taking. And in fact, I am right. My approach is more effective, but you don't have faith in its effectiveness. You see it as a gamble. So you're going to continue to try to dance to her tune, no matter how much that dance she's demanding set equals degrade yourself for my pleasure. It's like, but that's how it is now. Well, why is it like that? Because of you, Mom. That's why. Because you choose to do the same thing that the other parents there choose to do. Well, look, I know it's wrong, but just jump through the hoops anyway, just so we can.
Yeah.
And nobody understands. It's a fucking tender pile as dry as bone, just waiting for someone to spark it with the truth. So that school is actually just super high cost monopoly study hall. Not even study hall. It's just like assignment hall, assignment hall with a reputation. I mean, in some sense, maybe they should separate those two things, right? They should separate the teaching half of teaching from the testing half. Like in California, we have smog checks that you have to get done, but the places that test do your smog check are not allowed to do any repairs because they'd be incentivized to tell you that there's something wrong with your car. That was when the law was originally passed. Now they have it all digitally, so it would be impossible to do that anyway, right? But the point is, test centers are separate from and not allowed to do any repair shit. So the thing about that is teaching should be the same way. I'll teach the kids. You teach your kids. You teach your kids. You teach your kids. You teach your kids. We have a clear definition of what the actual curriculum is and why. We have a set amount of hours to do the best we can to teach as much of that curriculum as possible, and then have an independent third party test the kids on who's taught that curriculum best. That's how we should fucking do it. Then we can fire these fucking morons because they will consistently lose on any real testing metric, right? They lose because they suck ass. They don't know how to teach anything. Like, Chloe's finished all of my conditional logic representation worksheets. So that means now Chloe can successfully do things like, if I give her a sentence and say, represent this sentence for me, in terms of variables instead of words. If Mary and Sue go to the market, then Bob will either have cheese or ham and not both. But if he doesn't go to the market, then he will go to the opera or something, And she's able to go, if P, then Q, blah, 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 and write it all out as a logic formula. So in other words, granted, she's an ISTP. It's incredibly easy teaching her how to do this. It's shockingly easy for a sixth grader. It's like, but of course, the weird thing is ISTPs don't really spend much energy giving you cues that they've understood something.
Mm-mm.
I have to always push. It's like, in fact, she always gives me the opposite cue, which is basically, I'm being silent, which to me goes, okay, you're hiding the fact that you don't understand. And then I check, and she does understand. She just didn't feel the need to prove it to me. I mean, look, I don't want the federal government having any more business. I want to get any federal hands out of education entirely, because it's not going to make the problem better. It's going to make the problem worse. I think what would be wise is to try to extend an interpretation of a given piece of case law to make it unconstitutional to compel people to go to school. It's the only bit of barbarity we have retained from the old might makes right world, you know?
Yeah.
The only bit we've retained. We no longer cane people. We no longer put people in the stockade. We no longer have Shanghaiing of people to conscript them into your pirate ship. We no longer have, like, those kind of things aren't part of anybody's everyday life in America, right? But also slavery. Nobody's forced to go to work every day or get punished. We've gotten rid of that. There's no aristocracy. So if I'm accidentally in the way of your fancy carriage, you can't beat me with your cane because I'm a filthy commoner. You know, we've gotten rid of all that shit. I can't speak abusively to you in public because you're old and not get called out on it, right? Or because you're young, or because you're okay, let's not get too political about that though, okay? Because the thing is, don't apple orange me here. So the thing is, yet we still force children to engage in a standardized ontology shaping machine that's fundamentally violent, violent to their being. I mean, the proper way education is run is like this. There are no symbols of competency except for things that have extremely established protocols and concrete applications. So yes, we need certificates and shit for things like surgeons and pilots and so forth, right? But you should not get a certificate for a bachelor's degree in anything. You should choose to go to college because you have a need to learn something there in order to further your life's work, whatever that may be. The education going up into college should be having a student practicing those things that are meaningful applications of what's naturally becoming to them. Let them do real work and let them seek real knowledge in response to a real need for that knowledge to overcome an actual barrier to work they really want to do.
I want to ask your opinion. So when I was in high school, I wanted to go to a school outside of New York so that I could learn, like, to be on my own and socialize on my own. I mean, looking back, I could have done that at, like, a community college, but...
Yeah, because we go... It's like when we were in high school, we had this vision of life away at college.
Yeah, that's really... Yeah.
I got bit in the ass by it, too. I had a very lonely first couple of years of college, too. And really a lonely whole college, frankly. Anyway, the thing is, I would never... Let's say there was a position called, like, there probably is a position called, but that was actually functionally a education czar. I would not want to run for that position because I have no identity regarding education policy that's not revolutionary. In other words, as president, I've got a clear non-revolutionary vision, a wholly pragmatic statesmanist vision. I'm not interested in any sort of revolutionary changes, right?
We need, yeah.
I'm interested in pragmatic approach to the situation as it is and making sure it's as better as it can be 4 years from when I start as I can make it. And then at the end of 4 years, I'm done. But if I were asked to have to deal with education, if I were put in charge of it, I would have no solutions that don't first begin with blowing it up. Like the existing approach is just catastrophically failed. And it's catastrophically failed not because it's failed to produce enough educated people. It's catastrophically failed because it hasn't cared about the people it's educated. It hasn't cared who they are. Up to in place 48, it was for an hour. Okay. When you're 2 hours late, you can't bitch that all the hors d'oeuvres are gone.
Boom.
Boom, indeed. You made me turn on the light.
Oh.
Don't make me turn on this light up to in place 48.
I feel like you should even wear those sunglasses for those.
Waggy wag. That's a finger wag for you.
Oh my gosh, that's a big deal getting a finger wag from Post Eric.
I mean, look, public unions are basically a particularly unfair redistribution strategy. Because public school teachers, once they've gone through all the hoops, it's very difficult to fire them, And it's ironic because the unions work so hard to prevent the meritocracy that the teachers purport so much to enforce upon their students, right? So teachers love to talk about how students have to perform according to meow meow, or this is your grade, this is how well you did, blah, blah, blah. But they really don't like to answer questions like, can you explain to me how it is you came to decide that this was what you were going to teach, how you were going to teach it, and how it is what you've done to make sure that any time you ask of the student, especially outside of class, has a substantially high outcome to time ratio to justify it. In other words, let's say you're going to assign a kid 1 hour of work outside of class. And let's just say that's fine for some reason. Have you put a lot of thought into whether the task you've assigned the student maximally values that student's time? In other words, that student's time, like your own, is valuable. So if you're going to say this is very important for you to do on your own time, even though it's my job to teach you during the time you're here, if I fail to do my job well, I might have to ask you to do something at home as a favor for me because I failed as a teacher to teach you during the class time I had. If I do have to do that, I assigned Jeffrey's mom. I assigned Jeffrey's mom a homework assignment, and I almost never assigned any sort of homework assignment to anybody ever because it's ridiculous. But I felt irritated, and I assigned her a homework assignment. I said, listen, make Jeffrey find an example of one of the technique ones instead of one of the meaning ones. He's got this stupid list of literary terms, right? And he keeps going for all the meaning-based ones, juxtaposition, metaphor, simile, all this kind of shit, right? But there's this whole list of stupid technical terms for structural shit. Like if you have one sentence end with the word turtle, and the next sentence begin with the word turtle, it's called a meow. If you have 3 sentences in a row that all start with the same word, well, that's called a meow. If you have a sentence construction like this, I believe in justice because justice believes in me, or something. Okay, that's called a meow.
When I hear that, it makes me think of someone's Pinterest board.
It's the most arbitrary part of like literature stuff, right? If you're talking about things like elements of plot, tropes, like the way I talk about anime and say, okay, so I identified these are things that appear in every anime, right? That's identifying tropes, chunking out meaning bits, and starting to understand how they are expressive of that both medium of art and how it also expresses across other kind of like cultural meaning things that I've got going on, like how Japan understands itself before World War II versus after World War II, contemporaneously looking back. You know, like I have thoughts about stuff like that. So it's a good time to lose my train of thought. High school English is stupid as fuck, yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it's like. You know, there's huge list of all these little technical terms for all these kind of sentence constructions like that. And so the homework I assigned was make Jeffrey do this. Look up one of those, find it in the book. Because he's only using the meaning ones. He did one. She got him to do one. But my predicted outcome, I guess, was not correct because I assumed that he would successfully make a little tiny step past the requirement and intuit how to do it. But instead, he wanted, what happened is he did know how to do it basically, but he wanted me to sit there and hold his hand because he wanted me to watch him do it, you know, like stupid ENTP. I want you to watch me do something. Otherwise, I won't do it. Oh, fuck, fine. And then it's like, at the end, this is literally how the end of this conversation went today. I will get the book and show it to you. And I'll repeat the exact thing. Jeffrey's mom's like, oh, but you don't understand, Mr. Strauss. Jeffrey just keeps getting bad scores on the annotations, and you know what she wants is something different than he's doing. He's doing this. I know what she wants. She wants a bullshit sandwich. I'm not going to make it for him. I think it's a bad idea to make bullshit sandwiches. People shouldn't eat them, and people shouldn't make them. And I get what she wants. I don't think it's a good idea to give her what she wants, is what I'm saying. But can you just? I said, fine. Now, Grant, keep in mind, I record these things so that I can send them to him. So if I go, okay, fine, here it is, blah, 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 then they can listen back to it, and I don't have to repeat myself, right? So I said, fine, here's how you make a bullshit sandwich. Let me get my glasses, and I'll demonstrate on the fly right now. Very easy. I can make a million bullshit sandwiches like this. So it's like this kind of bullshit she wants him to do. Okay, so on page 131, we see Montag running from the hounds. And this is really reminiscent of how so many of the disenfranchised members of our society are running from the ever-tightening noose of economic disparity. It's time that we, as a nation, do something. And that's what this is evocative of for me. Okay, bullshit sandwich number 2. So when Granger's talking about his grandfather and the carvings he made, those carvings are really reminiscent of the unique identities that each of us possesses and needs to express in the world, and how important it is for us to respect each of those unique identities and not sacrifice any of them, or else fall fate to the same victim, fall victim to the same fate as the world of Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. There you go. Really There's a couple of demonstrated bullshit sandwiches.
Exactly. Holy shit, that really is.
Yeah, A+ for bullshit sandwich, right? Of course, I didn't say a goddamn thing.
Okay. Winston's mom, I actually love wigs, except for the fact that they get really hot, so I would not wear one all day. But I love wigs. That's one of the reasons why I like Halloween is because you get to like wear wigs and be the character that you aren't actually. I have been so like my hair is at like such an awkward length right now. It's like growing out. I can't figure out if I should cut it again or just let it grow out.
I have a really weird job, okay? It's like I've been hired as a chef. But like in addition to making, so I'll go in every day. I've been hired as a chef to cook 3 meals, let's say, all at once for the whole day, and then I'm gonna leave them there, and the person will eat them during the day or something, let's say. And I consider myself a great chef, and I believe in the importance of good food and stuff, right? Every day, we have the same argument. I go there, I make her a delicious breakfast of eggs and bacon and hash browns. I make her a delicious lunch of a sandwich and a bag of chips and a Coke and stuff like that. And then she says, and I say, okay, so here's what I'm thinking for dinner. How about steaks and salad? She goes, I really need you to make another turd sandwich. I'm like, what kind of turd? Bull. You want me to make another bullshit sandwich? I told you yesterday, I'm not making any more bullshit sandwiches. And then I get talked into making more bullshit sandwiches. Repeat the next day. Is that a weird job or what, right? That's a weird job. You get hired as a chef and your boss greatly loves your great cooking, right? So you have to be my chef. I love your cooking. It's amazing. You're the only one who can make these bullshit sandwiches properly. I mean, I'm like, I am a good cook, and no, I can't make those bullshit sandwiches properly. It's not possible to make a bullshit sandwich properly because bullshit doesn't make a proper sandwich.
It doesn't. It's a great metaphor. Is that a metaphor?
Mm-hmm. Well, red, that's an analogy, I would say.
Okay, analogy.
But yes, it includes metaphors for sure. Ray Bradbury is really SI heavy in that book, I realize. It's like, it's all about how we retain the books that have already been written, the classics and stuff. It's like, I think he's an ISFJ. I think he's Alpha Quadrant. He's got Alpha Quadrant values, but I think he's an ISFJ. He's a good writer. He's a smart writer. Like, he could be an INFJ, I guess, but I think he's an ISFJ because he thinks it's so important to retain every one of the Meadides. Every one of the books. Every one of the famous books, right? Why is a big focus at the end of this book on how they represent a walking library of people? Each tries to remember and keep in mind one of the books of humanity's history.
That's very...
it's so SI dumb, right? Because if I'm whatever his name is, the main character, Musgrave or
I've never read it.
Okay, well, I just said it, but I don't remember what it was. Anyway,
Musgrave.
Okay, so whatever his name is, if I were him and if I were he in that book, I would be like, fuck that noise. I'm remembering all these books. I'll say what the books it should be. I know what the book should be. So who cares what those people said?
No.
Oh, is INFP possible for Ray Bradbury? Yes, that makes more sense, actually. But, yeah, okay, because SI third, and then I guess it could be an INTP, because SI third as well. Okay, well, the thing is, his core message is that basically humans are cutting themselves off from their humanity when they cut themselves off from experiencing and feeling things. So it's like within the book, there's some aspects of it that are like the future that he predicted, in the sense that in the book there's live interaction between people on screens and you at home a lot of the time. But unlike how it actually is, where we're interacting together, it's like the person at home, all the people, it doesn't explain how this works, but the person at home has scripted lines too, and there's nothing but banalities. It's just endless banalities and no meaning, and just things like Joe and Mary are a couple. They had a problem, but they sure did fix it. Now, just like this dental paste fixes me. And then there's a jingle. So it's like Ray Bradbury being a Luddite, basically. And one of the predicted things that is in the books that is an expression of people drowning their humanity in their experience is everybody drives faster and faster and faster, 100 miles an hour, until they don't have to think at all, and all they do is squeal the tires and live on the edge of death at all times, which is like a really weird miss on a dystopian extrapolation. It's totally a miss. It's like,
this makes me want to. I'm gonna text my sister and see how many books she brought with her to Serbia, if any.
okay. I mean, it also sounds like SE Polar probably would conclude that's how shit would devolve. Like, I don't think of fast cars and shit as being contrary to civilization in the same way that burning books is contrary to civilization. I know, I heard, Scott. Thank you for letting me know. But hey, it's pretty hard to deliver the anime news to this guy. I'm pretty up to date on it, okay? Obviously, Rachel and I were there waiting for AOT to drop. 5 seconds, 4 seconds, it's like we were today at Crunchyroll.
We were so on the dot that we were before the actual new episode.
I waited till it said 0, but I pushed it so fast that I still started me on the previous episode, and then it took us about 2 minutes to go, wait, this is the episode we watched last week. It's been a long time since I've read 1984. I don't remember it.
See, so like INFP might be true. Like I was thinking that's SI as well. Like my sister loves books. She likes going to, when she lived in Brooklyn, she would go to this like cafe library, public library that they had there with all like nonfiction books. She collected books. Jane Austen, like, forget about it. I think the Bronte sisters too. She loved all that era of books, and she read a lot. But I don't know if she would take it with her. Like, I think she would make a new collection. But it would definitely be a book. She's a book person. She's not really a laptop. Swipe.
Square?
Yeah.
A square or a rectangle?
Mm-hmm.
Some sort of rhombus?
She's definitely not.
Quadrilateral of some sort?
Yeah.
You got some chips?
Thank you.
Scott Steiner, if I change my name to Man-Child Beard Boy, do I qualify as an edgelord? Yeah, Man-Child Beard Boy, I think is a good name. No, that's not edgy enough? How about if I change my name to Gashhound Pusley?
Whoa.
Is that,
I feel cut. So edgy.
How about if I change my name to Ronald Ronchon-Chon-Son? Is Ronald Ronchon-Chon getting colder or warmer from Gashhound Pusley?
I also want to go back in time and thank Winston's mom for her opinion. Yeah, I'm gonna let my hair grow out, and I will probably put it in buns and stuff, or at least I'll be able to do,
What about wheat privilege? What if I change my name to wheat privilege?
Wheat privilege? That's great. That's so American.
Oh, wheat privilege is a good band name, huh?
Mm-hmm. Wheat privilege.
Well, I'm tired of the privilege that wheat bread people enjoy. As a white bread person, I'm sick of getting this look like you're eating unhealthy bread while the wheat bread people are over there all smug, getting pats on the back from their fellow wheat breaders, I'm sick of it. How about this? I can eat just one. It's a distillase who continues to insist that I can't. I should write the Lay's Potato Company a letter on a piece of paper in the snail mail, right? It just says, "Dear Lay's, I can, period, eat just one."
Oh, that's really good.
Gosh, how
I approve that. There's no coffee in there, I think.
To the funeral march. It's time for sad music if we're out of coffee. What do you mean?
No, I think there's one cup left in the.
Of course, there's one cup left. Rachel has this one single, absolutely firm rule in life that she will never break. She will never eat the last one of anything.
Oh my gosh.
That seems to be impossible.
I know. It really is impossible.
Hey.
It's almost impossible.
Put it into her hand. Even then, it's like a magnet that's repelling it. It's like, no, you must have the last one. Hurry for Effie Tool.
Oh my gosh.
The gluten crowd's sick of it all. Yeah. Wheat bread privilege. That's the thing is us white breaders and the gluten-free people, we have a common enemy here. And so even though white bread has gluten in it, you know what they say? The enemy of your enemy is your friend. So I say at least temporarily that we white breaders team up with the anti-gluten guys to get the wheat breaders.
Yeah.
Let's defund the wheat breaders.
Defund for sure.
Defund the wheat breaders. Defund the wheat breaders. Wheat privilege is real. It's hardcore, and it's fucking you in the face right now. Is that edgy enough? Send Lays a singing telegram. I really like that idea. That's a good idea. That's way better than my idea.
That is a really good idea.
You send Lay's company a singing telegram, and you just tell the singing telegram company the name of the person you're sending it to is the Lay's Potato Chip Company. Then when they go to the first secretary, you'll instruct the singing telegram guy to say, "Well, I can't sing it to you because you're not the Lay's Potato Chip Company." until he gets shuffled around along to someone more important, ideally like a vice president or something. Okay, you're good enough to represent the late potato chip company. So you are the intended recipient of this singing telegram. I'm not allowed to sing my telegram to anybody who's not the recipient of it. It's a single-use song. Once you sung it once, it expires.
I had hollow bread that was like, with like syrup and butter on it. It was like breakfast style, and it was really good. Like, so like French toast, hollow bread is good. Yeah, Winston's mom knows what's up. Winston's mom, me and you, we should like enjoy hollow bread somewhere. In our imagination, in our own little world, are we eating? Could we go to a location where they have both tea and coffee to be served? Depending on my mood, I'm not sure which one I'll drink.
Sure. I didn't know we were going out to breakfast.
Oh no, I was kind of just going into La La Land.
I know, me too.
Aww.
Oh, right. Singing telegrams. This is the important question. The important issue I was just thinking about. So I want to know what happens when you order a singing telegram and they sing it to the wrong person. If you call and complain, do they go get that song back from the person they sung it to before they sing it to the new person? Or do they just give the new person a used song, you know?
So, I don't know.
Good question, right?
Yeah.
Do you need to buy extra insurance on your singing telegram depending on how valuable the message you want to convey is? These are the questions that I'm concerned with.
Winston's mom, that sounds amazing. I literally have never done a tour of Manhattan, and I want to. I've never been to the Empire State Building. Like, I've never been to the Statue of Liberty. That one's a bummer. Never been to the Statue of Liberty is a bummer for me. Luckily, I was young enough to see Ellis Island, but Statue of Liberty was being worked on the year that I went as a kid, and they were fixing it, and people were like jumping off of it and stuff. It was deemed as dangerous.
I think she's claims that Lady Liberty's claims she's gotten no work done, but if you see the before and after pictures, you see it's like.
Tell how you use the term before and after pictures.
Okay.
I lived in Franklin Square, Long Island, New York.
So the thing is, she lived in a place with two physical attribute descriptors in the name, square and long. That makes her and a small set of people that include famous Indiana Jones character Short Round.
Wow, Winston's mom, that's impressive. Only in the 20s.
Coincidence? I think not. You're from Long Square, and you're a huge fan of the Indiana Jones character Short Round. Coincidence? I don't think so.
No, that's the Matrix.
There's no coincidence there.
Isn't that a sign of the Matrix?
For sure. Or it's the Mandela. It's the reverse Mandela effect.
Also, obviously, this shows that the Illuminati are underhand here.
Well, I mean, Short Round is one of the top brass of the Illuminati now. That actor who played Short Round, he grew up to be a dominant elite megalomaniac.
Oh my gosh!
With population control in mind.
He's totally.
What's his name? Who's that guy?
He's the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book writer.
Is he?
That's why he's the No.
Oh, I want to know who Short Round really is. I want to know, like, what happened to
He
Short
was
Round?
Data
Oh yeah, he was Data in what?
in the Goonies.
In the Goonies. Yeah, he was in Goonies,
Mhm.
and he was in the Indiana Jones movie. What happened to him? What happened to Short Round?
Oh my gosh, Winston's mom, you're giving me like such FI feelings right now. I don't know any of these places. Like, this is so, like, these are places I was like, when I went, I used to, oh God, Long Islanders don't like to go into Manhattan. They don't like taking the train, and they don't like learning the subways. So I didn't learn the city until my late 20s, early 30s. And I would go to cheap places because I was in my late 20s, early 30s, making not too much. So I would go into class and hang out in the city on my days off. And also, like, I found refuge there when my parents put me in a program. So then I was getting tested for alcohol and for marijuana. So, it was a nice place to go when I didn't have a lot of money and I was on a sober program.
Rachel, let's pause and pull a bong rips moment of silence for the suffering you had to endure.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You think Short Round teaches martial arts and works fight choreography for film? Really? Interesting. It's like, as a kid, I liked him a lot in the movie. Like,
Me too.
I was very, like, it worked on me. Like, that
too.
Kid seemed like a kid I wanted to be friends with or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
He's my favorite character in the Goonies.
It depends on the day. It's probably on those days when I'm talking more about Short Round, then I get more thumbs up.
Literally, Grogu, Eric and I are together like almost every minute of the day.
Well, today she specifically said she wanted to live stream.
Oh, there you go.
And well, basically, I said I feel like going in and taking a bath and having sex. Do you want to do that? And she said, well, she didn't really have to say anything because I could see from her like immediate hesitation. Okay, and she doesn't want to have sex right now. She wants to do something else. And she said, well, I was hoping to live stream actually maybe after this episode. I was like, oh, okay, cool. She said, well, maybe I'll live stream while you're in the bath or something. I said, great, fine. Does she crave alone time? Do you crave alone time? I might not leave you alone enough. I'm not sure.
No. Mm-mm. I don't crave alone time.
The thing is, Grogu, at no point is there anything making Rachel sit next to me.
No.
She's always free and often does go into the other room and, like, when I go into the other room after, a couple hours after she's gone in there, sometimes she's still listening to and when Aquarius goes into meow. I think she likes the sound of. She sometimes has it on high speed too. It's not like on regular speed, right? So it's like her NI just likes to receive data, which it doesn't listen to precisely, but it gets the gist of anyway.
That's how my brain takes in information.
There's nothing embarrassing about it at all, Rachel. It's just that you're a receiver. Your default thing is you like to receive information.
I really do.
And like for me, I feel like I'm back into my default mode in the sense that in the bath, it's really a struggle to receive the bath real-time information instead of thinking about stuff I'm going to say on the night. Hello.
Oh, hi, Mr. Strauss.
Hi.
So can we go over there right now?
Yeah, sure. Okay, but so they're coming over to give us like strawberries or something and money.
Okay.
We don't have any Epsom salts. It's just water in the bath. That's all. Just water and soap that we use to soap ourselves. It turns out all you need to wash yourself in a bath, really, you just fill it with one thing, water. Then it is important to additionally have a bar of soap handy if you want to make sure those stubborn grease spots come free.
A lot of people like Lush bath bombs.
I hate them.
Have you used them?
Yeah, I discovered them in my last relationship.
Oh, I was gonna say
made
ISFJs like them.
Well,
Yeah.
they don't just like them. They like to make them. It's a wonderful craft. Sell them. I'm selling my bath bombs. Like that shit. The problem is you get out and you feel like you've got this film of slipperiness on you.
Ew.
Like it makes you. It's hard to
Keeps
wash
the
off.
oil.
It's hard to wash off all the shit that they put in there.
Yeah.
To feel like fully cleansed
That's
of
like
all the.
so opposite of what you want from a bath.
Yeah, well, we put.
Some of them have like sparkles in them too.
We went to green oils. We went to green oils and a little sandalwood
Ew!
oil.
The oil doesn't work with the fucking
But the aroma is wonderful.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
No, the thing is, we have a great bathtub. And the SI experience being in the bathtub is, for me anyway, a minimalist one. I'm trying to minimize stimulation that's not the actual experience of my body. I can listen fine, but because I'm not really listening. Like if you're talking when I'm in the bath, I'm understanding what everything you're saying, but I'm not planning on responding to it necessarily. Or in just about any other context, I'm planning on responding to it. So it's easy and comfortable for me to just sit there and hear you without interacting, and then try to feel the bath water on me. It feels really good. If I'm in there by myself, my own head starts. It's hard for me to. I have to keep reminding myself, like, stop thinking about that. Focus on how good this feels, so you get into SI reset mode.
It's said that pigs in Chinese astrology like simplicity.
Who's your favorite character from Legend of Galactic Heroes? I did watch that whole thing, but it didn't make that much of an impression on me. It seemed very STP. Like the characters were pretty. Like the characters were developed in the sense that the circumstances made them developed because they had developed circumstances that they had to deal with, but they all seemed like STPs more or less. A bunch of ISTPs doing their duty. I don't really. I guess obviously I liked the main hero Japanese guy as the hero, right? And then there was the blonde guy. The main Japanese guy is pretty cool character. He in that show. Now I'm remembering it. In that show, he makes the right calls, but he's always got these like stubborn, unmoving, old school minded admirals above him. One of the silly things about the show actually is so it's like the strategic mistakes that the that either side makes, both sides make, that the bullheaded, stubborn admirals make, are incredibly like level 1 strategy mistakes. Like, look, we've got them outnumbered here. We can overwhelm them in the big Russian right now. And then the other admiral goes, but sir, or the sub admiral or whatever goes, but sir, there's a good chance they could come out from behind that planet and flank us on both sides. And then the main admiral goes, are you a coward? And it's like, okay, come on. Somebody around here has got to be able to. Yeah, how did this guy get to be an admiral when he's so pig-headed about like the simplest trap in the world? It's like there's a box with a stick and a string, and the admiral's going, we've got to get that carrot. And the guy next to him's going, but there's a box and a stick and a string. And he goes, no, I love carrots. You don't love carrots enough. No, you got it backwards, Scott Steiner. You got it backwards. The real-time experience physically of your own body is a knowledge experience, not a doing experience. The execution of the task is a doing experience. Now, SI is not thinking of taking a bath. SI expresses in 2 ways. It expresses in real time as everything, like all of human experience expresses in 1 of 2 ways, real time or turn-based, which is to say experiential or communicative. Communicative things aren't time specific or time reliant or linked in real time to the experience. So it's like you can get the meaning of a sentence now or later. You know, you can stop reading a book now, pick it up later, and resume right where you are. It doesn't matter if there's a big gap in between. As long as it's not too long, you'll remember what came before and blah, 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 right? So the duration of Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451 is however long it takes me to read it. It's not any set duration. The duration of your dental appointment is also, however, yes, that's true, Aaron. Well, it wasn't alive for like an hour.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't for an hour. You missed it. I don't think there was like a notification for it, which I don't mind. It was just, but it's still, you can ask me anything. I don't mind. As long as you don't mind.
No, cool. I was not even here for an hour of them asking you anything.
They weren't really asking me anything. Which made me go, oh my God, here's my ignoring NE. I have to think of I literally was saying, like, I have to think of other things to talk about because no one's asking me questions. I figured being an INFJ 7, someone was going to have questions about that, but doesn't seem to be the case.
Mark points out we've got more likes than viewers. Not sure that's a good thing, but I appreciate the likes for sure.
Me too.
I am going to wrap it up now. I think I'll tell you what. I'm sorry. Let me give you a little bit more time by yourself to do this, if you want to.
I'm just gonna take a bong rip.
Okay, I'll join you for that then.
Okay.
So let's.
Commerce Pim says, "Finish your thought." Mine?
Yeah, I probably interrupted you.
I honestly don't know what I was saying. Couldn't have been that important. It's the same for me with NE. 5th, I need to bounce off others or I run out of stuff and panic. So like when I was taking an acting class, I learned that it was really, I could think of creative options for things to say for yes and, but I always had a problem saying yes and. So basically, like, I was fine under pressure, having to give my partner some spontaneous answer, but I couldn't always be in agreement with them. It was odd.
I mean, if I received that instruction, I would consistently go no but.
Yeah.
Why yes and? Why yes and? Why can't you build off no budgets as well? Rachel and I do it all the time.
Yeah.
We go back and forth, we riff and make jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll throw plenty of yeses and nos in. I go with where the funny is, right? Don't try to execute preordained roadmap like that. You have to go where the funny is.
But it's serious. Like they say it's not teamwork if you don't say it back. Like they were really like looking at me like, or I remember one NE thing that caught me in that same acting class was we were playing these characters. So I was being a rebel, and this dude was being misogynistic, and just naturally, like not even trying to be playing as a rebel, but I like was in it. I like slammed my foot down and I was like, "Oh yeah, like what do you call girly? What's girly to you?" So the art teacher was like, "Well, Rachel, what is girly to you?" And I was like, I froze. I was like, accessories. And she's like, what accessories do you think are girly? And I was like, shoes, and I think I said dresses. I couldn't think of like under pressure. I couldn't think of all the myriad of accessories that girls wear, and which is
Horse Bumbler. I want to say I have a different interpretation about it. My interpretation is that show is directed towards people who play StarCraft or equivalent things, and they want the person who's watching to feel like their own strategy. They get all the strategy things there from their game experience, and that they're smart. They're smart in the same way as the hero is. So it can't be too sophisticated, or else that's not going to work on a bunch of kids watching the show. It's very StarCrafty. I've never played StarCraft, but I've watched someone play it, and it's very much like move your ships around. I don't know, Scott Steiner, you seem to be fond of that one. So, I wanted to explain a little bit more about SE. Actually, I wanted to make I wanted to set an expectation here, and then maybe wrap it up after that, which is I plan to make for this channel, as part of this project that Rachel and I are working on, I'll probably make at least one tomorrow, and it'll probably be ESTP, which is I want to do basically a type description video for each type using the language that we're going to use and the non-jargon approach that we're going to use, basically so that Rachel can watch the type description video, and then she and I start on the same page of understanding in terms of these particular set of terms. That when we do the takes, we'll have a much clearer understanding, because basically we're going to take the information from each of those single videos on this channel and use that as the root piece of information for explaining the combination of the two, right? So I think, and that's a good thing for me to do on this channel. It's not going to be officially part of the other channel at all, but it's a resource we're going to use for the other channel that I can put up here as relevant to this channel, and will help me basically do my editing process. For a lot of people, I suppose the process of this sort of thing is a creative process, but for me, it's definitely an editing process. So I'm going to have to kill a lot of baby seals on the way to in the process of building my first seal lined house.
Catches drift.
Which is to say, I'm I'm going to have a lot more to say than I'm going to say. I have to remember, always prioritize the dominant frame here. You're doing this to meow, not to meow. Oh, I got to go out and
yeah, we got to go.
All right. Hello.
Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.